Welcome back to Movie Summary. Today we are diving into a film called Wild Things 2. The movie starts with a beautiful girl named Brittany, driving by the lake. She throws flowers and says I miss you. The woman then drives through the city of Miami seeing all the rich yachts. She arrives at her school. The principal is trying to talk but the students misbehaves. Then the doors slams and a rebellious girl named Maya enters. As she pushes everyone, Brittany seems to be given dirty looks to Maya. Detectives then give a speech on why students shouldn't party too hard, but nobody cares. One of them is a hot scientist girls liked. We then see the students finally released to go outside and play the yearly volleyball tournament. Maya sees Brittany play, and tell her friend that they should expose how this popular girl became so rich. The two women seem to hate each other. Brittany's team win and the students go party at her house. Everyone party too hard, that Brittany worries that her fathers will be mad. At this moment, Maya arrives to the party. Someone then draw on her father's painting and Brittany kicks everyone out. She goes in her room looking at a photo of her late mother. Then Maya surprises her and asks her how she became millionaire. Maya insinuates Brittany's mother dated her father for the money. She says she remembers who she was before becoming rich.
But I still remember where you came from.
The dad arrives and yells at everyone to leave. He then sees the painting and tells her daughter, that's now trash, like mother, like daughter. That same night, Brittany had a nightmare of her mother driving off a cliff. She then hears someone screaming. Turning the surveillance camera on, she sees her father being beat down and gunpoint, for not having the money to pay back. Later the dad says, it's nothing. He reminds her, he is her stepdad, not dad. The dad then flies away. He then seems to have issues in the plane. Brittany goes to volleyball practice, and sees the guy from yesterday, staring at her. The detective calls then Brittany, and announces her that her dad passed away in the plane accident. We then see the detective working on the case. Terrence, an insurance investigator, joins him, but the detective isn't happy about that. They find rats. The detective then goes to Brittany's house, and tell her they found rats who chew the wires. Someone maybe put them there, and he asks her if someone may have had a grudge against her father. She then shows the footage of the guy who beat down the father the night before. Brittany then finds out her father's will only gives her $25,000 per year for life, and the rest of the money can go to his favorite country club, unless they can find a blood relative.
$25,000 a year?
Terrence becomes very suspicious, and asks extra tests on the rat. Meanwhile the detectives identify the guy on the camera. Brittany arrives at the tribunal, to see that Maya is claiming to be her father's blood relative.
No, she is lying!
Put her in the cart!
Terrence found out the dad taught Brittany to fly, and Maya's situation at the tribunal. Maya claims that the dad slept with her mom when she was a maid at a hotel. The judge ordered a DNA test. Terrence then visits the man responsible for the DNA test, which is the hot scientist Julian. From the beginning, that same night, the man who beat her father shows up to Brittany's house. He says the dad owe her $7 million and he will be back in 3 days. The next day, Dr. Julian reveals that the DNA test came positive for Maya.
Mr. Dunlap's 51% goes to Miss Maya King.
Brittany is devastated. Brittany then finds out that the man who beat up her father was arrested. Terrence is then being told that wine was found in the rats. Maya then visits Brittany, and we found out they all worked together. Julian the scientist also shows they were all in the plan. They all then make love. Days later, Brittany is standing by the lake her mother jumped off, when Terrence visits her, and let her know he represents her father insurance. He says that something doesn't add up. She leaves. At school, Brittany is scared and tells Maya about Terrence's discoveries. At the same time Terrence goes to see Dr. Julian. He says that the dad may be sterile, which would make the DNA test questionable. Julian panics. He goes to meet Maya and says that Terrence is on him. Julian is not sure anymore that he can go through this.
Just think about the $70 million.
At this moment, we see Terrence outside of their house watching them together. He followed Maya, but a man points a gun at him. He he calm him down. The man then reveals that Maya's father was a criminal, now dead. Maya then calls Brittany, proposing to deal with Julian, because he is putting this situation at risk if he blow it up. Brittany hesitates, but Maya wants to cut him out of the deal. Meanwhile, Terrence finds the tombstone of Maya's father. The next day Maya signs the papers to receive the dad's $70 million.
$70 million!
She calls Brittany to meet her tonight. Brittany hesitates about Julian, but Maya is determined. At the same time, Terrence finds out that Julian used to lose his doctor practice after a scandal. Brittany arrives at an abandoned building to meet Maya. Brittany doesn't want to get rid of Julian, but Maya doesn't want to hear anything. Julian arrives, but when Maya pulls the trigger, the gun is empty because Brittany shot in the air by accident. Julian runs away and they chase after him. The gun now works as she puts more bullets. Julian finds Brittany and tries to strangle her. Maya shoots him and gives the gun to Brittany, who cries. Maya wants to take the body to the lake where Brittany's mom was never found. On the other side, Terrence comes to inspect the dad, but found out that Maya made it incinerated.
Of course.
Maya and Brittany arrive at the lake and are dragging Julian a body. They then see a car coming in the horizon. Maya tells Brittany to dump the body, as she goes to stall that car. A police officer comes out of the car. Julian then comes back to himself. The officer hears it. He tells Maya to go in the back seat of his car. At the same time, Brittany uses a knife to stab Julian. When the officer arrives, everything is quiet. Minutes later, Maya calls Brittany, making sure the job is done. Terrence then arrives at Julian's house, but no one answers. He wants to break in, but then hears a car coming. He sees it, Brittany arriving. She hears a noise, but doesn't see him. When she leaves, he inspects the car and finds the same plants by that lake. The morning the detective comes to meet Terrence by that lake. Terrence is convinced Julian is at the bottom of that lake. We then see Brittany on her bed. She receives the call. It's Maya who is checking on her, and is looking forward to see her tonight. Meanwhile, the detective is mad at Terrence, because his men found nothing in the lake.
If they killed him, I know it. He's in there, detective.
In that goddamn swamp is my f***ing reputation.
After they leave, Terrence gets an idea and gets some of the plants by the lake, known to suck everyone around. That same night, Maya arrives at Brittany's house, just to find out Terrence is already sitting there, drinking. He makes himself comfortable. He congratulates their plan, and reveals to them that he knows everything. Brittany is in tears, as he drops a piece of Julian clothing in blood. Terrence then reveals he wants half of the money. He threatens to call the detective. Under pressure, Maya agrees. Brittany says no, she can't give him half.
I'm not giving out my half.
Brittany goes to grab something in her dad's office. Brittany shows up with a gun. Maya gives her sign to shoot Terrence. She shoots Maya instead. She tells Terrence that he wanted half of the money, now he earned it. They both decide to drop her body in that lake, as police is less likely to check that place again. As they are driving, a police car stops behind. Brittany gets out, leaving Terrence with the body. Brittany then rats him out to the police. Terrence is then arrested. Brittany then leaves the country by flying a plane. Terrence laughs at the irony of the situation.
Is that what it is, Brittany? You're just gonna disappear and leave me hanging with all that?
The detective then shows Terrence the tape they found in his car. It shows the conversation he had the night before with Maya, for asking half the money. At this moment, news come out about the dad's gambling and misuse of the money. Terrence realizes that the dad isn't dead, but the detective thinks he is crazy. He believes the dad set this thing up.
You don't do this, Wilson! You can't do this, man! Don't do this, please!
In the plane, we see the dad with Brittany. Brittany gives him a parachute, but now he has suspicions that maybe Brittany messed up the parachute, then gives him hers. Before he jumps, she screams that she is sorry for him breaking her mother's heart. She reveals his parachute is filled with newspapers. He says, "How could you do it to your own father?" She reminds him, "Stepfather." Once on the ground, a woman comes to pick up Brittany. We realize it's her mother, who actually isn't dead. Thanks everyone for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and check our other movies summaries.